Hello, welcome to today's class. Today we're going to do an ode to our feet. We really don't give our feet enough credit. We don't appreciate what they do for us, for those of us that have the ability to use our feet, because not everyone does. So today's class is going to basically be a tribute to that, to feel the body's foundation by just kind of plugging into the earth or the ground, or if that's not your yoga gig, then just appreciate the fact that these itty bitty little things hold up all of this. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to learn to kind of appreciate how important our feet are to everything that we do. We take an average of 6,000 steps a day in this day and age where people are really focused on their health, probably taking more. I personally take anywhere from 15 to 25,000 steps a day. A lot of steps on these little things, but we do. It's a lot of miles over the years, I guess, or kilometers here in Canada. The feet are your foundation and our connection to the earth, to the ground underneath us. If the foundation is weak, problems will show up in the rest of the body. The lower legs, the back, even the shoulders can be traced back to the feet. In all of the standing poses, the feet, the part of the body that touches the ground, form the foundation of our posture. And if the foundation of a house is out of alignment, the walls will be contorted and disrupt in the entire framework. In our asana, our posture practice, if the feet are misaligned or the body weight is off center, it's difficult to strike a tall, spacious, and centered pose. And if you've followed any of my videos, I've talked about when we're in our Tadasana, our standing pose, and I don't just have you stand, I have you kind of feel what you're doing and being aware of actually just standing there, and it's a lot more work than just standing there. Our body is like a house. If the foundation is off balance, you disrupt the entire framework, right? Your weight should be evenly distributed between the outer and inner foot, and between the heel and the ball of the foot. We practice samastahi, which means equal standing, and that's not a word I use very often. I use mountain pose or just standing. Samastahi is another form of that mountain pose, another word. The balance gives our body ideal postural alignment that translates to strong, expansive standing postures, as well as other poses in which the feet are engaged. Today, a lot of our practice will be on our feet and some balancing and really kind of feeling how we balance. And when you're on one foot and you're actually kind of moving the foot to allow yourself to be able to stand. So that is kind of the purpose of today's practice. We're going to use this foundation consciousness as we begin into our postures. That being said, let's start out seated. A little bit of irony there, talk about how much we're going to stand, but let's get a little warmed up first. So start in your comfortable seated position, whether that's cross-legged or in a hero's pose on your knees. Just find yours again, as long as we got an upright spine here to get our bodies limbered up as we go. Okay, so maybe just bring your hands to heart center for a second. Maybe just put them together to feel them. Maybe wiggle your toes just to make sure they're alive today. Close your eyes and just remember that as we go through today's practice, let's appreciate our feet and what they do for us and where they take us and the power that they have. Couple breaths to here just to connect your mind and your body and your breath together. Just be aware of that breath in and out through the nose. In through the nose, the belly expands. Out through the nose, the belly contracts. On your next exhale, just release your hands to the mat beside you. A couple more breaths here. Kind of check in with your shoulders. Make sure we're not tensed up and shoulders are nice and loose. On your next inhale, raise your hands overhead, palms together. Exhale, bring your right hand down to the mat to the side as your left hand works its way over, bending into that right side. Really feel the opening and stretch through the left ribs. Inhale, lengthen through the fingertips. Exhale, fold down or bend to your right. Maybe walk your right fingertips out a little more just to give yourself a little more room to bend here. Inhale, right hand up to meet the left. Exhale, left hand down to the mat on the side as we do our bend to our left. Inhale, lengthen all the way through the fingertips, all the way down to that right hip. Maybe find a little more room here on the exhale to bend a little more to the inhale, straighten back up, left hand up to meet the right. Exhale, left hand down to that right knee, right hand to the back. Giving a twist here, a little twist to the right. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, all the way down to the tailbone, and exhale, maybe find a little more softness in that. Inhale, exhale, come back to center. Inhale, raise your hands overhead, palms together. Exhale, right hand to the left knee, left hand to the mid back on the floor, finding our twist to the left. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften into the twist. Wonderful. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release your twist. Good. Take a couple breaths here, nice neutral seated position. Inhale, raise your shoulders up, big squeeze up. Exhale, down. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, down. One more time. Give yourself a little wiggle here, kind of loosen up everything. Perfect. Let's find ourselves on all fours in a tabletop position. Very mindfully bring yourself into that position. Remove your bolster if you got it there. Your pillow. Tops of the feet to the mat. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. Nice and strong through the hands here. Kind of be aware of your arms. When you kind of think about it, right now in this position, our arms are kind of sharing the load of our feet as we're here in our table. Okay, so just kind of, again, being very mindful of that. Good. So eyes of the elbows forward, strong through the hands. As you inhale, draw that navel towards the mat, chin and chest straight out towards the horizon, tailbone high. Exhale, curve the spine, chin to chest for cow. Or for cat, sorry. Inhale, arch the spine, chin and chest to the horizon for cat or for cow. Exhale, curve the spine for cat. One more time on your own. Inhale back to neutral, curl your toes. Exhale, raise your hips up for downward facing dog. Maybe pedal it out here. Become aware of your feet. You have to have a slight bend in our knees, that's okay. Hands nicely rooted into the mat. Feel all 10 pads of the fingers. Nice and firm there. Your heels may not touch, that's okay. We're not trying to force our feet to do anything they don't want to do today, okay? Just do a little movement here. And on your next exhale, lower your knees to the mat and hips all the way down to your heels. Walk your fingertips forwards for child's pose. A couple breaths here in child's pose. Maybe rock your forehead side to side, giving it a little massage. At any point throughout our practice today, feel free to come back to child's pose. Maybe reconnect with your breath. Maybe just appreciate the moment or kind of come back to our feet and what they do for us. Find some gratitude there. Inhale, bring yourself back up to tabletop, curl your toes, exhale, downward facing dog. Good. And again, make your downward facing dog work for you. Do a check-in, eyes of the elbows forwards, kind of giving that rotation. Maybe a bend in the knees. Maybe you're trying to challenge yourself and go a little straighter with the heels, maybe a little further. Bring that gaze to the thighs. Good. Inhale, raise those hips. Exhale, knees to the mat. Walk your fingertips forward, bringing your forearms and forehead down, keeping your hips high, finding our puppy pose here. Good. Excellent. Couple breaths here in our puppy pose. Feeling the stretch through the back of the shoulders, through the chest. Walk your fingertips back. Inhale, coming back up into tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right heel to the sky. As you exhale, stack your hips, turning that right foot to face the left side. Try and stay nice and even through that left foot as it supports us here. Maybe give a little ankle circle here on that right foot. On your next exhale, release that foot to the mat. Little pedal out. Again, showing some appreciation to those feet. Inhale, raise the left foot, left heel to the sky. As you exhale, stack your hips, bringing the sole of that left foot towards the floor on the right. Think of it as like a scorpion tail. And keep breathing. Kind of check in with that right foot. See that you're not kind of off to the side. You're trying to, as evenly as possible, feel all the pressure through that right foot. Exhale, release that foot to the mat beside the right. Inhale and exhale. Come up onto your tippy toes and slowly walk your feet up towards your hands, finding yourself in a forward fold. While we're here, use your blocks. If that's in your practice during your forward fold, maybe bring the floor a little closer. Bend in your knees. You choose what variation you want to do. But a little rock back and forth on your feet here. Just really feel maybe a little side to side. Lift the toes, toes down. A little rock back and forth. Good. Really feel all aspects of your feet. Let your head dangle. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice straight spine here, chin parallel to the floor. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise on up, hands overhead, palms together. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Give a little press of your thumbs on your chest here with your hands together at the heart center. Just kind of feel your feet. And again, a little rock back and forth. As you come back onto your feet, raise your toes, maybe close your eyes. So you really got to feel. If you engage your quads here, you'll feel your kneecaps lift, but you'll feel your feet kind of really firm down. Keep your toes lifted. And just feel that for a second. Again, maybe do a slight little rock back and forth. See where your balance is at. Inhale through the nose. As you exhale, allow your toes to come down one at a time if possible. Kind of feel all those mounds in your feet. Really plugging in here to the ground. Release your hands down to your sides. Stand nice and tall, feeling your feet on the ground. Exhale. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back. Knee down, low lunge here. Inhale, hands overhead, palms together. Find a slight back bend. Exhale, hands to the mat. Curl your right toes. Step your left foot back to beat your right for downward facing dog. Inhale, float forward. Exhale, lower yourself down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, curl those toes. Raise those hips, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, step your right foot up in between your hands. Give it a little boost there if you have. That's all right. Left knee to the mat. Kind of feel that right foot right now on the mat. Feel it there. You can even feel the top of the left one. Just being aware of all the motion, if any, to balance. Inhale, raise your hands overhead. Bringing up your chest, maybe a slight back bend, really feeling that stretch. Exhale, hands down to the mat, framing that right foot. Curl those back toes. Step your left foot up to meet your right, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise on up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands down through heart center, all the way down to the sides. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step your left foot back. Keep the knee up this time. Inhale, hands overhead. We're going to hang out here for a second in our lunge. I want you to really feel if you're balanced. Feel if you're kind of feeling your feet kind of move to keep you where you're at. Maybe take a look down. See if your foot is straight. See that your knee is over your ankle here. You might feel your foot working to balance. Be aware. Even the back foot, you might feel yourself on your toes working to balance. Feel like you're squeezing your thighs together. One more full breath here. Exhale, lower your hands to the mat. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Hips up, downward facing dog. Inhale, float forward. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Up dog or cobra, choose your variation. Exhale, curl your toes, raise your hips. Downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot up in between your hands. Again, give it a boost if that's where we're at. Keep that right knee off the mat. Again, be aware of your foot as you find your balance. Inhale, hands overhead, palms together. Squeezing those thighs. Once you squeeze the thighs, you probably find that you really got to work on finding that balance again. Take a look at that left foot. Is it nice and straight, or is the heel kind of going in or out? Just be aware of where you're at. Appreciating those feet. Exhale, lower your hands to the mat, framing that left foot, and step your right foot up to meet the left, forward fold. Halfway lift and fold. Inhale, rise on up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands down to the center. Good. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, fold. Being aware of our feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right, raise your hands overhead. Bend in the knees for chair pose. Good. Again, you might feel the balance in the feet here. Inhale, maybe come up onto your toes while you're in chair pose if you want to challenge your feet here. Ooh, and then come down. Exhale, fold hands to the mat or your blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise on up. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Again, while we're here, just take a moment, maybe catch your breath. On your next inhale, bring your right knee up, right foot off the mat, balancing on the left foot here. Very slowly bring that right knee up. Use your hands on your shin, on your right shin here, bringing that thigh up towards the chest, feeling the balance on that left foot. Using your right hand now, maybe guide that right leg out a bit as we work our way into a tree pose. So if this is not accessible to you, your tree pose can just be your toes on the mat with the heel of your foot on the inside of the shin. This is your tree pose today. That's okay. Every day could be different. What you might have been able to do tomorrow, might not be able to do today. That's all right. Maybe you can have your foot just on your shin here. That's okay. If you're joining us with your thigh up to your chest and bringing that knee out, and you feel like putting the foot on the upper thigh is accessible to you, maybe your hands on your hips. Take some time to feel the balance on your foot. You might feel yourself go wobbly back and forth. That's okay. Maybe press your right sole of your foot into that left thigh. A little bit of pressure there. It's accessible to you. Hands overhead. Fix your gaze on an immobile object here. Might help your balance. It's good. Just be aware of your foot. Good. Inhale, bring your knee forward if this is where you're at. Exhale, lower your foot beside your left. Give a little roll out here. Inhale, raise your left knee up. Bring your hands onto your shins. Little balance on that right foot if that's accessible to you. If you can only raise a tiny bit here, just working on your balance, do that too. Okay, this left leg comes as high as you are comfortable with. There is even the option, if you want, to use a wall. And then hold yourself up, but use the other hand to bring your thigh up. Okay, you have that option as well, or a chair if you have that handy. And then we'll go, if you've got your leg up, maybe bring that knee out. Use a wall here to show you. So you got your hand, bring your knee out. With the support of the wall or chair, maybe guide that left foot onto the inside of the thigh. Even if you just try it for a second to see how you feel with your supporting yourself on the wall. Maybe you feel like you want to take your hand off the wall for a second. And then, okay, you can do that as well. Let's work on that balance. Find what's most accessible for you, just appreciating the feet while you do it. Just take a couple breaths in your variation of choice here in our tree pose. On your next inhale, bring your knee forward. Exhale, lower your left foot down to meet your right. And maybe walk it out here for a second. Show some appreciation to those feet. Back in our Tadasana, nice and strong. Maybe again, lift the toes, feeling all the fleshy mounds of the feet really pressing into the mat. Engage your thighs, lifting those kneecaps. Palms facing forward. Exhale, lower those toes one by one. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold, hands to your blocks or the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step your right foot back. Find your balance here because we work our way into our warrior one. You may need to widen your stance if you feel your balance isn't cooperating today. Maybe have your blocks handy. And when you're ready, inhale, hands overhead. Spin that back heel down to the mat. Back foot's on the 45-degree angle, pressing through the outer edge of that right foot. Feel the balance on the right as you're working it here. Take a look at your knee. Make sure knee is over ankle. Hands overhead. Feel like you're pressing your thighs together as you work towards a 90-degree angle on this side. If you're not there yet, that's cool. That's fine. No big deal. Do what we want. It's our practice. Maybe turn those pinkies towards one another. Make some space in between those shoulder blades. Inhale, raise those fingers up. Exhale, sink into the hips. Come up on your right toes, working our way into our warrior three. So you might have to take a couple steps. Slowly begin to raise that right foot off the ground. Arms out in front, palms together. If you want your hands on your hips, that's okay too. Really feel the balance in that left foot. As you slowly hinge at the hips, maybe a soft bend in that left knee. Find how far you can go today. Come to your level. Maybe you're just at the point where your right foot is just an inch or two off the ground. That's okay. Keep breathing. As you exhale, slowly bring your right foot back to the mat into our warrior one. Exhale, bring your hands around to the back. Interlace your fingers, pressing the backs of your hands towards the wall behind you, opening up that chest. Inhale, raising up through the crown. Exhale, bringing your hands up and over, bringing your head down towards that left leg, that left shin. Finding our humble warrior here. Being aware of all the work there is to balance on our feet. Good. On your next exhale, slowly release your hands down to the mat. Step your left foot back to meet the right. Downward facing dog. Pedal it out here. Inhale, raise your right heel to the sky and step your right foot up in between your hands. Again, find your balance here. You might have to widen your stance. That's okay. Inhale, raise your hands overhead, spin your left heel to the mat. Fingers nice and high, maybe turn those pinkies, making some space. Bring the shoulders away from the ears. Pressing down through the outside of that foot, making sure our knee is in line. Engage the core, navel to spine. As we prepare our right foot here to balance in our warrior three. Begin to hinge at the hips, keeping a little bend in that front leg. Like that'll give yourself a little push up. Now, you can, in your warrior three, there's really no right or wrong. We're not doing a textbook warrior three. So if you feel like you need a little support here and you got a wall in front, you can actually use your wall. You could have one hand out and one hand on a block. Okay, just to help you with your balance. So choose, again, maybe hands on your hips. Maybe some airplane arms for balance. And you choose, again, where you're at today. Soft bend in that right knee. Exhale slowly or fall back. Bring your left foot back to the mat, that 45-degree angle. Inhale, hands overhead, back into our warrior one. Exhale, let your hands float down to your lower back, interlace behind you, pushing the backs of the hands outwards, separating the upper chest. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, bring your chest all the way down to that right thigh, finding our humble warrior. Inhale, push your hands up to the sky. Exhale, maybe find a little more space to bring them towards the head. Again, you'll feel yourself trying to balance here, especially on that right foot. Good. Inhale, bring your hands back down to the lower back. Release your fingers and bring your hands down to the mat. Step your right foot back to meet your left, hips high into downward facing dog. Then maybe pedal it out here. Maybe take a look at your feet. There you go. As you look at your feet here in downward dog, see if you can see your heels. If you can see your heels, then maybe readjust your feet so they're hiding behind your ankles. Good. Exhale, lower your knees down to the mat. Bring your hips all the way back for child's pose. Excellent. Take a couple moments here again just to appreciate what we put our feet through. Just as we did some balancing stuff there, and really appreciate the feeling of our feet and all the work they did to keep us upright. Inhale, bring yourself back up into the tabletop. Raise your hips up for downward facing dog. Inhale, raise that right heel to the sky. Bend that knee. Squeeze your knee all the way up to your right wrist. Lower that right shin to the mat. Walk the left foot back a bit. Finding our pigeon pose here. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. As you exhale, if accessible to you, come down on your right forearm and bend that left knee. Reach back and see if you can just reach for your what is that? Let's go. Sorry, my friends. Come down onto your left forearm. Use your right hand to reach back. You might find this a little more accessible for you. Maybe press your left foot into your right hand. Really feeling the stretch through that left quad here, okay? Maybe a little opening through the chest as well and through that shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. As you exhale, softly release that left foot. Bring your right hand back to the mat. Hang out here in pigeon for another second. Inhale. If you feel it's accessible to you, maybe walk your hands a little forward. See if you can bring your chest a little more to the mat, if you can find a little more space. Inhale, walk your hands back towards your torso. Press through your hands, curl your left toes, pushing up the hips, right foot back to meet the left, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left heel to the sky, bend that knee, squeeze that left knee to the left wrist, bring that shin down to the mat, walk that right foot back for a pigeon on the other side. Excellent. Now we're going to bring our right forearm down to the mat, palm down, bend that right knee, use the left hand, reach for that right foot. Again, you should feel the stretch right through that right quad. Excellent. Slowly release that right leg, bring your left hand back to the mat, parallel to your right. Again, maybe walk your fingers out, see if you can find a little more room to bring your chest to the mat in your pigeon. If not, we can hang out up here too. That works. Being able to come further down may never happen for some people. For some others, it just might take some time to slowly work on those hips, okay? So push yourself back up, hands towards the knee, curl those right toes, push your hips up, downward facing dog. Come up onto your tippy toes, walk your feet all the way up to your hands, keep a bend in those knees. Nice little forward fold, but a strong bend in our knees here, almost resting our chest on our thighs. Now, if this is accessible for you, maybe heel toe your feet out so they're at the sides of the mat. Find a squat here, bringing our buttocks towards the mat in a malasana. This is not accessible to you. Just meet us sitting on your bottom in the seated pose, or just once you come into a squatted position, lower yourself back. Good. Extend your legs straight out in front of you. Keep a bend in the knees here. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, bring your chest down towards your thighs, reaching for your feet. Maybe just reach for the outsides of your feet, bringing your hands to the soles, just wrapping them up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, folding forwards. We're going to hang out here for a few breaths. If you feel like you want to work towards lengthening your legs a little more, that's okay. You can do that. Inhale, walk your hands back on your shins, raising your torso. Put your hands on the mat and lower your back all the way down to the ground. Bend your knees in constructive rest. Hands down to the sides, palms facing downwards. Maybe just rock your knees side to side here. Give your lower back a little massage. Excellent. Bring some awareness to your feet here. Feel like your feet are parallel. If you know that you tend to have an outward or inward rotation on your feet, try to bring awareness to making them parallel without an in or outward. If you have to kind of look and see, they both seem like they're parallel, straightforward, hip distance apart. Maybe walk them back a tiny bit closer to your buttocks. And when we're ready, we're going to work our way into a bridge pose. So inhale, raise your hips up, really feeling yourself press down into your feet, squeezing your thighs. Squeeze your thighs together, hands pressing into the mat. Exhale, lower your hips. I'm going to do that once more. Inhale, raise your hips high. Maybe take a moment here to walk your shoulder blades together. Maybe interlace your fingers underneath. Keep your chin off your chest, chin high to the sky. Not looking to arch our neck, just nice and neutral position. Exhale, lower your hips back down to the mat. Just rest here for a couple breaths. On your next inhale, bring your knees all the way into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. Give yourself a big squeeze. Bring your forehead up towards your knees. Exhale. Just release a little, just using your hands to support your shins here. Do that once more. Inhale, nice and deep. Squeeze your. And exhale, release as you bring your forehead up to your knees. Bring your back down to the mat, arms out in a T, keeping your knees bent to your chest. Inhale deep, exhale, let your knees float to the right. Maybe bring your right hand onto your left thigh here to add a little slight pressure for a spinal twist. Maybe bring that gaze over to the left fingers. Inhale, bring your knees back up to center. Exhale, knees float to the left, gaze to the right over the right fingertips. And use that left hand for a little bit of slight pressure. Spinal twist. Inhale, bring the knees back to center. Reach up, bring your soles of your feet to face the sky. Use your hands to reach for the outer aspects of your feet, finding a happy baby here. Maybe a little rock side to side and take a couple minutes for you. Again, as we reach for our feet, bringing some awareness and appreciation to them. On your next exhale, release your feet down to the mat, extending your legs straight out. Maybe allow your feet to kind of softly fall to the sides, hands down. Side your hips, palms facing up. Coming into our final Shavasana. Take some extra moments here to bring some appreciation and awareness to all the work that those feet do for us. Maybe that's from A to B. More miles put on our feet than probably any car will own in a day in our lifetime. I hope today's practice brought you the ability to be aware of how important our feet are to us. I look forward to our next practice. Thank you for joining me today.